Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope that everyone's week was manageable. I hope you've had a week, not necessarily a great week or a good week, but a week, because sometimes that's all we can really hope for. My energy has been shifting in the right direction, so I'm grateful for that things are starting to balance out a little bit, probably before they get really, really crazy, but we'll see. So a minute early. Hello, Brian. I was a minute early, so I didn't know who would who would jump in or who would be late. So for those of you that are new, this is just a live stream I do every other Sunday to give us all an opportunity to check in with where we're at, if we're struggling, share our wins, and just have a conversation about mental health because it's something that not a lot of people have the opportunity, or not everyone has the opportunity to do. So I do have this goal of raising $250 with pledges. You can use the super chat or super sticker function to do that. You can also use PayPal. I almost forgot to open my PayPal again so that I can see if any pledges come through that way. So if you make bigger pledges, that is the way to go because then it doesn't take that percentage off. But all of that goes toward my mental health outreach. So I'm able to provide help to those here in the community to help them get medication, to help them get into therapy, or like we did the blankets, the weighted blankets. We've done things for veterans. We've done so much. We helped an elderly woman get a little birthday. She was a widow and she didn't have anyone, so we threw her birthday. We helped a veteran realize his dying wish and seeing the beach and got him to California. So we try to do a lot here in the community, and I do that through Patreon and pledges. So for any advice I get, I'm not I'm not a licensed professional. I am just sharing based on my experiences or the experiences of other people that I've interacted with. I also want to say that this is just kind of to take some pressure off and to just be transparent. I want to be able to offer insights and stuff, but sometimes there's just nothing that someone can do. There's times where we just have to unfortunately sit with the uncomfortable feelings. And I know people will come to mental health professionals or to survivors, and it's in search of something to make that pain go away. And unfortunately, there's not always a way to make that pain go away. Sometimes we have to experience it to get to the other side. But I did just want to let you guys know that I'm not a professional. I'm just giving my insights and stuff based on my experience. We've got David. David, I do not want to hear the term 10 toes. I'm so over the toes. No talking about toes. Daniel, Tyler, I'm sorry you're struggling, Matthew. I hope that we can lift your energy a little bit, or at least give you space to talk about it. JD, what's up? Long time no see. I hope everything is okay. Tony's also not in a good place. Spencer says my liver needs a break. I agree very much. Oh, and David says you're in a good place with us now, Tony. Absolutely. I think that this is a good energy, a good community. Whenever I'm feeling stressed out, it's funny because I'm going to be totally honest. There's many times before these streams that I'm going, oh, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I feel almost like I'm having imposter syndrome, that I'm just, what can I possibly say? What can I do? Am I giving value in these streams? And I definitely have that. And sometimes I just don't want to show up. And then I do, and I feel better. Literally every single time almost I feel better. So sometimes it is just a matter of showing up in a group of people that care and just holding space for each other. Oh, Tyler, happy early birthday. Jordan, Robert, what's up? Siles, I think it is. You're in the stream, so you're in. Spencer says, I'm tired of being hungover in the mornings. I assumed that that's what the liver damage was in reference to. And I can understand that feeling. I've fallen into alcohol multiple times or other substances where every morning I would wake up and go, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to do this anymore. But then I'd succumb to it later because I was going, I can't handle this. I can't do this either. So it was this constant push and pull between, okay, well, do I give in and use whatever substances I'm using, alcohol or whatever, and deal with all these really gross after effects that ranged from being sick to full-blown panic attacks with some of the substances. What do you deal with? What is the lesser of two evils? And finally I said, okay, there are other things that can provide the things that I'm chasing with these substances. And that was one of the things that helped me get out of that, was saying, okay, clearly I need something. I'm doing this because I need something. I need relief. I need escape. I need something. How can I address that need in another way? And I really had to sit down with myself and say, okay, let's start exploring things. I really didn't have the answer, so I just kind of started exploring things. And with the exception of Coke, nothing was an overnight recovery. It took some time, and it often does take some time. But I think first figuring out why we're turning to it, and then figuring out what else we can do to fulfill that need that it is offering. Scott Kamas Landscaping and Snow Weather in Tech says, it's been 5 years since the house fire. Well, that's good. Hopefully things are moving in the right direction. Robert says, everything is okay. The weather in the UK, it's been pretty cool. I feel like it's always cool over there. Is it ever really warm in the UK? Because in the times I've gone in different times of the year, and it seems like it's always really cold. Well, thank you, James. I used to be addicted to soap and clean. Now I'm addicted to soap operas. Does that count for anything? David earlier was referencing one at the beginning of the stream. He loves torturing me. But that's just because we have a contest going here between us. We have a little rivalry going to see who can read the better soap opera romance novels, who can read in a more sexy voice. And I don't know. I think I have more experience, but David does have that husky tone down pat. JD says, great 39th birthday yesterday. Went to see Matt Rife, and being able to laugh my ass off with friends was a great pressure relief and reset. Well, I'll give some late birthday snaps, but early first snap. I'll give some snaps for that. Being able to enjoy your birthday and laugh. That's always good to just have a reason to laugh. I see several people saying that they're glad I made it through Metallica without crying. There is crying in reactions, by the way, just in case you're concerned. I imagine in most of the reactions where I cry, it's because it's triggered something that I haven't healed. I typically don't cry unless it's in response to something in me that hasn't been healed, which is ironic because I'm a crier. I definitely am. But it's in response to things that personally affect me. And I'm definitely an empath, and I can feel the pain and suffering of other people, but it typically doesn't drive me to tears. So in this case, I can say, oh my gosh, this is horrifying, and I can't imagine the suffering that this person is experiencing. But because it doesn't trigger any of my unresolved trauma, I typically don't cry in response to those things, although I'm sure there's been some exceptions, and I'm sure there will be. It was definitely very emotional. More than anything, though, in this case, it angered me. When I think about what our veterans go through, when I think about the cost of war, when I think about these things, it just makes me really angry that how is it that this is where I don't even want to say we've gotten, because we've always been there as a species. How is this still a thing, I suppose? How are we still not able to resolve our differences, resolve conflicts in ways that don't result in this? So I just get more angry and upset when it comes to war and that sort of thing than I do sad, if that makes sense. Warrior Post says, I still feel bad about Red Cold River. I had no idea it was going to hit you as hard as it did. I'll make it up to you. I think that you're going to have to listen to NSYNC to make it up to me, Warrior Poet. That is the only thing I will accept. You choose an NSYNC song, do a reaction, send it to me, and I'm just kidding. I welcome emotional videos and reactions and stuff, I do encourage people to send things that are going to open up conversation, because that's the whole purpose of the community, is to open up conversation about mental health. So when we do reactions that either trigger emotions in me or that are going to allow other people to be able to open up or allow me to talk about something emotional in the lyrics in the song, we're just moving the mental health conversation along, right? So I welcome songs even if it makes me uncomfortable. Spencer says, need more Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace. Have I done 3 Good Days Grace here on the channel? I don't remember if I've done any here on the channel. I do know of a couple songs, but I don't know if I have done any here. I have to go back and search. I'm at a point where I've done so many reactions that every single time I have to double check and make sure that I haven't done a song, because I don't even remember who it was, but I do remember there was one artist that I said, this is my first time reacting to them, because I'd totally forgotten that I'd done a reaction and I felt kind of silly about that. David saying he still feels guilt over Inside the Fire. I forgive you. I absolve you of the need to have any guilt. I do not think poorly because you guys suggest these songs, because the way I think of it, and David, this is partially because I reacted to that song and I had that experience. I think of it like it's helping me to work through these things. It's helping me to heal. It's helping me to look at what I need to focus on to kind of move through different things. So I am totally okay if a song is going to trigger me or if it's going to release some emotions. I need to release the emotions. I need things that will just help me release them and get them through. Fashion Fiesta, thank you so much. Let me write that down and then I will read the comment. I don't think I've seen you around here. Are you new? I'm always underconfident while speaking to others and don't feel confident. Also, any suggestion on how to make friends in the US? I'm new here. Well, welcome. I feel like making friends as an adult can be a bit trickier, but we'll start with the speaking to others and feeling confident. I think a lot of that comes down to being confident in who you are, because if we don't like who we are, then we're not going to want to present that to other people. So I would highly suggest seeing if there's things that you're insecure about and finding ways to work through them. So for example, if you are insecure about people judging you for the way that you dress or the way that you express yourself, then finding things that make you confident and things that maybe you get complimented on a lot. My pink shoes that I was wearing in my during my graduation ceremony, my pink shoes are something that I get a lot of compliments on. So it makes me feel more confident when I'm out in public. So having a statement piece, and yes, guys can have them too, even if it's like a t-shirt that encourages conversation, having things that are going to make you feel confident, that people might compliment you about, that's always a big one for me, because believe it or not, I don't feel underconfident when I'm interacting with people, when I'm speaking to people, but I do often feel underconfident when I go out, because I feel like people are looking at me, and I struggle with that. So I think finding things that make you feel confident, practicing in front of a mirror. I used to do that all the time, and I didn't like public speaking when I was younger, and to be honest, I've come to love it. Honestly, I've come to really enjoy feeling heard and opening up and talking about things, being able to share my experiences, hopefully help people or give them insight. And I like to think of it when I'm out and about. If the only thing that I can do is say hi and compliment someone, then maybe I made their day just a tiny bit better. So instead of framing it in the sense of, okay, I'm putting myself out there, think of it more in, what value can I provide to other people? And this is just to kind of help you get past that hump, because then it's, I can make somebody feel better. I can do that. And that's actually a confidence booster in itself, of being able to make somebody feel just a little bit better, make somebody smile, have a goal to see if you can make a certain number of people smile in a day. As far as making friends and connecting with people here in the US, I think going out and doing things obviously is a big one. I feel like I meet people when I go do things that I enjoy. So just taking up a hobby, taking up maybe taking classes. I've met quite a few really amazing friends and people through my classes and stuff. So just putting yourself out there to meet people in ways that you enjoy. So if I'm meeting people in school, it's likely going to be people that are in the same degree program as me through these classes and stuff. So it allows me to connect with like-minded people. So maybe that is a gaming group. We have little comic shops and stuff here, so you can go down and play Magic and stuff like that, or Pokemon or whatever card games are popular. I'm not particularly knowledgeable about that, but I do know that there was Magic the Gathering and a couple of other ones. But it depends on what you're into, and just finding ways to do what you love. And then if you meet someone doing it, that's just a bonus. I hope that gives some insight. I know that was a bit of a long-winded response, but I really think that kind of making it a numbers game in a way, that in my head, when I go out and talk to people, it's, for the most part, people are going to be really nice. People are going to be, at the very least, cordial. So if I'm just saying, hey, I really like your earrings, or hey, I really think that that's an awesome bumper sticker, or just starting conversations, finding things to talk about, finding ways to start conversations. I hope that helped. If you have any follow-up questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Tony says, all the we get about the lack of assistance when we get home from overseas. I am assuming, I'm just going to add this up, 5, 10, 12. I'm assuming that you're referring to our veterans and our military, and it is really frustrating to me. I guess that plays back to the whole war thing and the whole conversation we were having about Metallica and the video one. It's so tragically difficult for veterans to be able to get the assistance they deserve. And it upsets me so deeply. But I think the important thing there is realizing that it's not just the VA. There's many, many organizations now that can help, and there's new ones cropping up every day. So there are a lot of organizations that want to help, a lot of people that want to help. So don't just rely on the government. Let's see. I just got a message here. Sarah says, hey, Amanda, first time catching your stream. Just wanted to get your opinion on the best way to cope with the anniversary of my mother's passing on June 3rd, 7 days before my birthday. Cancer sucks. That's crazy, because that's the anniversary of my mom's passing too. So I actually made a video a while back that goes through a lot of the things that I wish I would have done, that I did end up eventually doing, or that I incorporate now. I'm really sorry about the loss of your mom, first and foremost, because I know personally how difficult that can be, and anniversaries are awful. I still struggle with certain anniversaries, certain things coming around, but for me, I had to find ways, number one, to process my feelings, number two, to hold on to her memory, and number three, ways to honor her. So when it came to expressing my feelings, that was done through mostly, connecting to grief support groups, connecting to my friends, talking to my friends, things like that. When it came to holding on to her memory, I was terrified that I was going to forget her. I was terrified that I was going to forget little details and stuff. So I started a memory journal. I got a book that was just specifically for writing down memories I had of my parents. I lost both my parents, my dad in 05 and my mom in 07. And I just started writing down every single thing I could remember, even if it was just this piece of advice she gave me once, or this conversation we had, or when we went and saw a movie, or when we went on a particular drive, or her favorite movie, or just literally anything I could remember, anything at all, her favorite perfume, what that smelled like to me. I wrote all of these things down, and it was just dozens and dozens and dozens of pages of random things. And that really helped me. And then when it comes to honoring them, I mean, that's unique for each person, because obviously each person is going to be different. But I think it's really important to find ways to share their love and energy with the world, because that helps to keep them alive. That helps to keep their memory alive. David, if you could drop the link, if you haven't already, for that video. I have a couple more tips in there. But I think if you can have grace for yourself on that day, take a day off. I will usually take the days off unless I have something specific I want to do to honor them. I'll at least take the days off in doing my day job, which is dog sitting, dog boarding. I typically won't book drop-ins and dog walks and stuff on that day. I just take the day and have grace for myself and say, you know what, it's okay to feel like a wreck. Even all these years later, it's okay to feel like a wreck. It's okay to miss them. It's okay to fall apart. It's okay that sometimes we don't just say goodbye once and then move on. Sometimes it comes back and it hits us all over again. And anniversaries of passings and birthdays and things like that have a way of doing that. Mother's Day, Father's Day, those sorts of days really have a way of doing that. So those are my suggestions for getting through it. And I think David posted the link here for that. But I'm welcome. I'm glad that you were able to join us. I know that we have a lot of new subscribers here on the channel. I'm very, very excited because as of April 27th, we had 65,000. And as of today on May 19th, we have over, 67,355. So we have gotten several thousand subscribers in less than a month. So all of you that are trickling into the stream for the first time, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Oh, Fashion Fiesta made another pledge and said, on my dad's death anniversary, I try to donate to Cancer Hospital. Feels good. Also, do you do live streams weekly? I actually do them every other week. That's an excellent idea. My mom, she was really passionate about volunteering for the elderly. She was 60 when she passed away. She was very passionate about volunteering with the elderly and things. She worked as a nurse. She worked in a nursing home for individuals that needed care, for senior care. She's an activity director. And when I was younger, I used to go there and volunteer with her. So sometimes I'll go on the anniversary of her passing, on her birthday, and do something for the elderly specifically. And that's really meaningful to me. So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, finding some way to do something that would have meant a lot to them on my dad's birthday or anniversary of his passing. I like to sometimes do things to encourage people to quit smoking or purchase things to help, like stop smoking aids and stuff like that, because my dad had emphysema and he really wanted to go and speak to communities and to schools and stuff and help people to quit smoking, because he smoked from the time he was 12 till he was 55. He ended up getting emphysema and he wanted to talk about his experience and he didn't get to do that. So I try to share that experience with people and encourage people to at least pledge in his honor to quit smoking for that day, and then maybe the day after, maybe a few more days, and then maybe a week, month, year, but doing that kind of work is really meaningful to me and helps me connect with my dad, because I know that that's something he wanted to do that he didn't get to. And for that matter, the dog rescue and stuff I do, or did, I haven't been doing it lately, but I used to do a lot of dog rescue. And my dad had always wanted to start a ranch for dogs, just to give them some place to go if they were abandoned. I do want to share our good news story before we go any further, since we're almost halfway, and then we're going to have to do snaps. We're going to get to do snaps. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I have to be honest, I wasn't really able to do much between the last stream and this one as far as the pledges, but that's actually kind of good because it gives me a little more to work with in the next 2 weeks, and then I'll be able to tell you what I did. We did pay for therapy for a few people here in the community, but for the most part, I am kind of saving it up. I started summer classes, and one of them, my teacher is a blood-sucking succubus. And I can already tell that she's going to be the type of teacher that just doesn't want to give an A. And that stresses me out because I have a 4.0 and I'm proud of that 4.0 and I want to keep that 4.0. So I'm a little scared of this. David, thank you. Okay, David says, would a video on what is gaslighting be a good vlog. I first heard it in politics and roughly get it, but I still don't fully understand. I love a detailed description vlog. Thank you for that suggestion. I have been doing some shorts that kind of are illustrations of what gaslighting looks like examples. But yeah, I could absolutely make a vlog about that. And maybe that would help people because it is kind of a hard concept to understand. The term actually came from a movie that the husband was trying to make the wife believe that these lights were not blinking when they were. And that's what gaslighting is making someone question their reality, making them believe something is or isn't true when it is, or when the opposite is in fact true. So yeah, I could absolutely do a vlog like that. Thank you for the pledge. So this is kind of a little bit different of an article than what we usually do. We usually have a very specific thing that we talk about, but this article I found was very interesting because we have this idea that when we see something in the media, we kind of have that Bader-Meinhof thing where we see it, so now we're seeking it out elsewhere, right? It's like when you get a red car and now suddenly everybody has a red car. Everybody else is driving a red car. So weird. No, everybody else already had the red car, but now you're seeing it. So I think that where our attention goes, our energy flows, and we tend to focus more on things that we're exposed to. And unfortunately, the media really makes us feel unsafe. It makes us feel like the world is this crazy dark place to live in. But most crime has fallen by 90% in the last 30 years. So this article is talking about why does the public think it increased? It says 78% of people in England and Wales think that crime has gone up in the last few years, according to the latest survey, but the data on actual crime shows the exact opposite. As of 2024, violence, burglary, and car crime have been declining for 30 years and by close to 90%. The drop in violence includes domestic violence and other violence against women. Antisocial behavior has similarly declined. And antisocial behavior is a big indicator for violence. It's one of the things that they will screen for, that they consider a risk factor for violence. While increased fraud and computer misuse now make up half of crime, this mainly reflects how far the rates of other crimes have fallen. All high-income countries have experienced similar trends. This is talking specifically about the UK, but all high-income countries have experienced similar trends, and there is scientific consensus that the decline in crime is a real phenomenon. There's strong research evidence that security improvements were responsible for the drop. This is most obvious with vehicle electronic immobilizers and door deadlocks and better household security, stronger door frames, etc. Decreases in crimes, often committed by teenagers, such as joyriding, burglary, had a multiplying effect. When teenagers could no longer commit these easy debut crimes, they did not progress to longer criminal careers. That's really interesting. I wouldn't have thought about that. But if they're not able to get that kind of gateway crime, then they're going to be less likely to do more. There are, of course, exceptions. Some places, times, and crime types had a less pronounced decline or even an increase. For many years, phone theft was an exception to the general decline in theft. Cybercrime, measured by the CSEW as fraud and computer misuse, has increased and is the most prominent exception. So why is there such a gulf between public perception and the reality of crime trends? A regular YouGov poll asks respondents for their top 3 concerns from a broad set of issues. Concern about crime went from a low in 2016, quadrupled by 2019, and plummeted during the pandemic when people had other worries. But in the last year, the public concerns about crime have risen again. There are many possible explanations, of which the first is poor information. A study published in 1998 found that people who watch a lot of television or read a lot of newspapers will be exposed to a steady diet of crime stories that does not reflect official statistics. And this is what I'm saying, that if you're constantly exposed to all of these atrocities happening, then you're going to think that this is a common occurrence, when in fact, it's just what you're exposing yourself to. The old news media adage, if it bleeds, it leads, reflects how violent news stories, including crime increases and serious crimes, capture public attention. Knife crime grabs headlines in the UK, gun crime grabs headlines in the US. But our shock at individual incidents is testament to their rarity and our relative success in controlling violence. Most recent terrorist attacks in the UK have featured knives. There's little discussion on how this indicates that measures to restrict guns and bomb-making resources are effective. I'm not sure why that part was relevant. Political rhetoric can also skew perceptions, and I think this is important. I wanted to read this because I know we're kind of moving into that season where we're going to be seeing a lot of political ads, a lot of things where people are going to be talking about issues and crime rates, and they're going to be bringing up particular stories or skewing statistics. And I just wanted to share this to remind you guys that the world is not just this completely scary place. It can be, and there are scary people in it, but violent crime is dropping pretty drastically, and we're working on the mental health trends to move them in the same direction through outreach like this. But I think it's really important as we move into that season to understand that it skews perceptions and they are trying to scare us. We don't have to give into that. There are also some crime drop deniers who have vested interest in crime not declining due to, for example, fear of budget cuts. Despite the evidence of crime rates dropping, some concerns are justified. Of course, victims along with their families and friends have legitimate concerns, particularly as crime is more likely to recur against the same people and at the same places. While the trend is clear, there are nevertheless localized increases in some types of offending. When these relate to harmful and emotive issues like gun violence, it is natural that this might have a substantial influence. We're unlikely to be able to change political agendas or journalists' approaches to reporting, but governments should be taking a more rational approach to crime that is based on evidence, not public perception. Local governments need to keep on top of their local crime hotspots, problem bars, clubs where crime occurs, shops where shoplifting is concentrated, local road traffic fence hotspots, and so on. And the common theme here is how crime concentrates. And I think this is interesting that we should be collecting data, and addressing things on a case-by-case basis, and not on a case-by-case basis, but addressing the things that are really problematic. And this is what I've always said, is when we focus on these things that they're trying to get us riled up about, we're ignoring the real issues, and we're ignoring the ways that we could be moving this conversation in the right direction. So I just wanted to share that. I think that's amazing that crime has fallen by 90% in 30 years. Let that sink in. All these things that we see, it's just kind of fear-mongering. It's important that we do know about these things, but if we're consuming a lot of media, then we're going to think that things are scarier than they are. Personally, that helped my anxiety to think about that, because I am studying forensic psychology. I'm reading a Ted Bundy book for fun. I've been doing this cold case with Aaron, this unsolved cold case game. So I am very exposed to murder and death and things like that. So I have to say, Amanda, these things are a genuine concern, but there's things you can do to protect yourself. And we can't just live being terrified, especially when the statistics are showing that we're moving in the right direction. I think that's amazing. We are moving in the right direction despite what they want us to believe. That makes me happy. That really made me happy. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this? Yeah, Lass says people are easier to control if you give them a common fear enemy. Absolutely. David says all sides of the political aisle and the news outlets want to control through fear, tell people what to be afraid of and who is to blame. The other side is causing crime. Yeah, when I don't like that the world has become this us versus them mentality. I just don't remember that being as much of a thing growing up. And granted, I grew up in a completely different environment, in a completely different time period. I grew up in a small Midwestern town. I didn't grow up with smartphones and social media and stuff. So it was a totally different time, totally different energy, environment. But I just don't remember things being so divisive back in the day. Hey, Master Ganja. John says, I like The Purge. The Purge is one of my favorite series. I love The Purge. Fashion Fiasco says, so next stream would be on June 2nd. Unfortunately, I have to go today, but we'll come back next stream. Yes, June 2nd. Well, I'm glad that you could make it. I hope that I didn't miss any messages. If you do need to reach out to me, you can message me on Instagram at MentalAmanda, and my email is always in my video descriptions. And I try to respond as fast as I can, but I am getting more and more. And I I'm only one person, so I do get to my messages. It just might take me a couple of days. Oh, Mick is so right. We all forgot what compromise is. And that makes me so sad. I am the person that everyone hates, I think, because I tend to try to see both sides of an argument in most cases. There are exceptions. There are things that I'm just, no, I'm right. But I try to see both sides. I try to see different perspectives. I try to find middle ground, and it's gotten me in trouble many times in my life, surprisingly. But yeah, I just feel like there's no compromise anymore. There's no room for dialogue, for growth. Spencer says, I promise I'll get better than I am, Amanda. Well, promise yourself that, not me. I'm glad that you're making that statement here in the community so we can hold you accountable, but do that for you, not for us, not for me. Do that for you because you deserve to heal. You deserve to get past this dark night of your story. You deserve to get through it, and you deserve to feel peace and find that healing. Ellen says, I know I'm a couple of years late, but I just watched your Fade to Black reaction and I loved it. Well, thank you. David says, who is better, NSYNC or Backstreet Boys? Discuss both sides. I think that NSYNC has much better dance moves. I really like their harmony more. Backstreet Boys, I appreciate that they have stayed together this whole time, that they did not break up, that they didn't let their desire to do individual things break them up as a group. So they stuck together for the fans. Kevin left for a bit, but he did come back. So I appreciate that. So David didn't think I could do it, and I just proved you wrong. And I also I never got the vibe that any of the Backstreet Boys have that same personality that Justin. Justin's personality is a bit abrasive to me, and I don't feel like any of the Backstreet Boys have that. Now, they have their own flaws, and they're not perfect, and they've had some scandals, but I just feel like Justin Timberlake is not a good person, and I don't know that he ever was, and that makes me really sad because I love him to pieces, but I just don't think that the Backstreet Boys have that equivalent, so thanks, David. Thank you. Thank you. So how many new people do we have in here? Hands up if you're new. I want to see a hand if you're new. Ellen says Backstreet and NSYNC are so nostalgic for me. As you can see, my NSYNC dolls down there. Oh gosh, I'm covering Justin. Am I covering Joey? No, I'm covering Chris. I'm covering Chris and Justin. But yeah, my NSYNC dolls are down there. I'm a big NSYNC freak. You can just get out then, Master Ganja. You can just leave. There's the door. Bye, Felicia. I'm just kidding. I love you. You're allowed to have your wrong opinions. It's okay. But I will throw down. I will throw down for my boys. Sean says, hey, my awesome metal family, and greetings from Omaha, Nebraska. How's my beautiful family doing today? Nebraska. I just imagine that the weather is really nice there right now. We are doing okay. Mick, thank you very much for your donation. I very much appreciate you pledging for the cause, and I love you very much. No, I don't have to read it. I will never, ever say those words. You could not pledge enough to get me to say those words. But nice try. Johnny says, hey, Amanda, took your advice on self-harm and how to deal with my shadow, and it's been helping so far. Wanted to say thank you. All big snaps for you. We'll do our snap cups. So let's get in with our preliminary snaps. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy that could help. That makes me happy. I needed that after everybody's trying to torture me or make me cry. I don't understand. And I had this with Linkin Park. I literally ended a date once because this guy just went off about how much he hated Linkin Park and how much they sucked. I'm going, I can understand you just not resonating with a certain sound, resonating with a certain group. There's plenty that I don't like, but I can still see the talent. I can still say, wow, those people really harmonize really well, or those people have some really fun lyrics. I can still see usually why other people are drawn in. Taylor Swift is a perfect example. I don't personally like Taylor Swift, but I can understand why other people do. So to just dig your heels in and say that you hate a band is just, I mean, I did that when I was a teenager, like, because I said I hate the Backstreet Boys, I have to love NSYNC, but it's just so strange to me that people will shut out music to that degree. Aaron says, unless you pledge enough to buy front row tickets to an NSYNC concert, if you do that, please do that through PayPal, because I don't want you taking out that kind of a chunk. Yep, that's it. That's it. Tony says, go Backstreet Boys. Thanks, Tony. Oh gosh, what about that JJ Fish guy? I don't think I could say anything positive. But you know what? He had confidence. That's what I'm going to say about that. That guy had some freaking confidence. All right. We are going to do our Snap Cup song. So I don't think Edward's in here. Oh, no, I think Edward might be on his trip. Is Edward on his trip, guys? I'm not sure. But we are going to do our Snap Cup song. It's just a way that we can share wins in the community, share warm fuzzies with each other. So I post over in the community tab, usually on Wednesday or Thursday. So you can post your wins and then we can read them here and celebrate those with you. It comes with a song because it's inspired from Legally Blonde 2. So Snap Cup time, gather you round. Friends and foes together, united and bound. Pass it to your neighbor instead of blowing up, and you'll find harmony and love in a Snap Cup. I'm getting better. See, I'm getting better at it. And thank you, Aaron, for the pledge. I needed to forget about Chris, thank you. I'm just gonna add that there. I like that you stick to your guns about what music you like. I'm a big Linkin Park and Five Finger Death Punch fan. I just got a new FFDP t-shirt this week. I will be totally honest and transparent about it. I don't want to go, oh my God, I love this band, I love this group, if it's not authentic. So I feel like I'm really honest and transparent in my videos about, you know what, this doesn't really resonate with me, but here we're going to analyze the lyrics and I can still see the talent. So yeah, I'm glad that you guys are recognizing that. I do try. RX Doc 2010 says, I started walking around the block during the day and around the hospital several times at night. I don't leave my house except to go to work, so this is new. That's a huge step, so big snaps for that. We all have to start somewhere, right? We really have to sometimes start at square one. We have to start with something really small and then build on that momentum. So that's excellent that you have made that step, literally taken that step to, walking around the block or walking around the hospital, walking around, even though you don't usually leave. I remember after my mom passed away, I got really bad agoraphobia. I could not leave my house. And if I did, there was like a time limit for how long I could be gone, and I couldn't go terribly far from my house, and I had to just gradually work on that. It was actually really scary because it felt like I was in prison in a way, like I was in prison in my mind because I couldn't leave. I couldn't go anywhere or do anything. And I'm a pretty adventurous person, so nowadays I love traveling and going and doing things, but back then I just absolutely could not. Oh, we have gotten 10 supers on this stream. Thank you guys. It just gave me a notification that we've gotten 10, so thank you guys for 10 pledges. I love it. Let's see. Darren Verney 3662 said, recently decided to shut off all my positive and negative thoughts or emotions and just try to be present and exist in every moment without even thinking about it. Practical thoughts are what I've tried to rely on, like deciding how much gas I need to put in my car and what I need to do at work to get through the day. Those kinds of thoughts are the antithesis of emotion. Too much emotion causes you to doubt yourself. Just something I discovered about myself, not telling anyone else how to live. That's really important, that we are honest about what we need, what works for us. If that works for you, excellent. Just don't be hard on yourself if those emotions come up. If something is floating around in your head, or if something happens that does trigger those emotions, emotions are human. They're perfectly natural. They're perfectly normal. And sometimes they need to come up so that we can resolve things. Sometimes they are practical. They do serve a purpose. Well, they always serve a purpose, but it's more about emotional regulation than it is shutting off emotions entirely. So if you do have an emotion, if you do have a thought come up, being able to handle it and regulate it and find a healthy way to express it. But as I said, I think it's really important that we understand what works best for us. And if it is truly working for you, then I'm glad you found that out about yourself. I just don't want other people to think they have to shut down their emotions as well, because if we suppress our emotions that are trying to tell us things, then we might not get that message, and it can build up and come out in really toxic ways later down the line. So excellent. Just have grace for yourself if emotions do come up and need to be addressed. Shane says the weather in Omaha sucks. I guess my fantasies of Omaha, Nebraska are thwarted. T. Montgomery says, Beanie, the woman that has helped me so much, finally opened up, saying the name of the man that SA'd her as a child. She's built like an onion layer coming off one at a time. I've not heard anything out of her since. No one has. The win. Inside, I'm terrified of what might have happened. What she might have done would take more explaining, but this is already going to be long enough. I'm terrified inside. I'll never hear her voice calling me to wake me every morning, but I'm not giving into the utter panic I feel my alts, or I and my alts feel. I'm not leaning on alcohol to numb or over taking my meds either. I'm still taking my meds. I realize there's nothing I can do but wait and see. Actually, I very highly encourage you, if you know where she lives, to get a wellness check. You can call the local police department and get a wellness check on Beanie. I had to do that with Scotty, with my friend. Unfortunately, he ended up passing away later. We found out he had stage 4 terminal lung cancer, but he was literally just wasting away. He shut out. He shut everybody off. And he was wasting away, and we were at least able to get him help and be there with him in those last days and give him the dignity that he deserved. And he was very grateful for that in the end. So if you do have a way to check on Beanie, to contact Beanie, or to have someone have the cops do a wellness check on her, they will genuinely go over there. They will not take her in or anything unless she's a danger to herself or someone else. And that's not just saying that she's struggling with mental health. That means that she's actively going to do something or has done something. But I really, really implore you to get a wellness check on her, either yourself or having the authorities do it. But I am proud of you for not turning to the numbing things like alcohol and continuing to take your meds that are prescribed. And I think there was something else in there. Oh, yes, not giving into the panic, like being able to work through that. But yes, please take action. Please, if you can, see if there's someone that can check on her. But big snaps to you for being able to get through that. Mick says, I'm trying to teach Amanda how to grow good hair. I'm never going to have hair as excellent as yours, Mick. It's just not going to happen. Nature took care of haircuts for me. You guys are silly. Oh, that's where that came from. Master Conscious says, I learned to counter my mom's claims of me needing a haircut. Laugh out loud. I said, then why does Jesus look like the lead singer for Rolling Stones? I love it. Snaps to you for having that comeback. Love it. Love it. Tony Travis says, the only win that I've got is that I woke up. That's an excellent win. That's the most important win. The one thing that I had been looking forward to and kept me from ending everything, which was seeing Colin. Colin is his son. I have my brother Matt's served with him funeral tomorrow. He took his own life on 5/7, and that was stolen from me by his mother. She used Colin as a pawn to tell me this so she didn't have to. I was fighting the urge to taking enough unison that I didn't wake up. I'm still absolutely destroyed because I won't see the boys again until Father's Day. I really encourage you, from my understanding of previous conversations, previous posts, there is some kind of a parenting plan in place, and she's violating that parenting plan. So I really encourage you to reach out to your legal counsel, to reach out to your lawyer and report this, because if she is not following that, then they will take action accordingly. But I know how frustrating that could be. I split custody and it was really ugly in the beginning too. I understand how frustrating that can be, but I think that understanding that Father's Day, it is a long way off, but if you were to do something, you'd never get to that day. So you'd never see them again. So I think focusing on that and focusing on how you can honor Matt and your other brothers that you have lost right now is the key, is the best thing that you can do. Take legal action, honor your brothers, and know that if you do anything, you won't ever see them again. I think that would be my advice there, but I am very proud of you for working through these really immense, that one's not very loud, these really immense feelings and these really immense losses and the stress and frustration that's coming with this custody situation. I'm very proud of you for working through that, but take action, stand up for yourself against her, because you and the boys deserve it. David Gap says, David, you still in here? See my friend walk and get their well-earned diploma. That's me. I'm that friend. Thank you. I will give, do I give snaps to you guys? Give snaps to me. Snaps to both of us. Snaps for your appreciation and for my win. For those of you that don't know, I'd actually finished the program for my associates last summer, but I just now got my graduation last weekend. So I was able to finally get my very first graduation ceremony, because I dropped out of high school and got my GED. So I'd never had a graduation ceremony. I got to my very first ceremony. I posted over on Patreon for the community there for my pack. It was amazing. It was really emotional, and I am very proud of it. So thank you for acknowledging that and for bringing all of this positive energy to us. Hi, Emo Rain. Chris asks how the weather is here. It's hot. It's already getting really warm. Most people, when they talk about seasonal depression, are thinking about when it transitions to winter, but we kind of have the opposite thing is in Arizona. As it transitions to summer, we go through that oftentimes, and I'm kind of struggling right now as it transitions into that hot part, because it can get up to 120 degrees here. It's miserable, and it's already triple digits, so I'm struggling. But I have a lot of things that I can do in the house, fortunately, and I get out early in the morning. I go meditate. I've been doing this meditation at the park, or finding trees and meditating under trees. That's been amazing. So I get my outside activity early in the morning or late in the evening. Matthew Azaria, are you still in here? Says, I purchased a t-shirt to honor one of my favorite artists, Loretta Lynn. It was expensive as it gets. However, it satisfied me. Love Loretta. Big snaps to you for honoring her, and just big snaps to Loretta for having ever existed, because she was amazing. I read that and I literally heard the Louisiana Woman, Mississippi Man song go through my head. So excellent. I loved Loretta and Conway. I'm a country bumpkin at heart. Fun story. I don't know if I've told you guys this before, but when I was younger, I remember listening to the song Country Bumpkin in the car by Loretta Lynn and Conway Twitty. And I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, will you be my country tomato? And she said, what are you talking about? And I said, well, they're talking about country pumpkins. So I thought that they were saying country pumpkin. So that's my fun Loretta Lynn story with my family. But yeah, snaps to you for being able to honor her and being able to do something that just satisfied and made you happy. It does not matter if it's an overpriced shirt if it makes you happy. And I know that Aaron is going to use that against me later. Oh, how close? David, can you add that up for me? Thank you, Nick. I don't want to go too far over, so David, can you do the math on that for me? Nick says country pumpkin. I like that one. I was a dork. I was definitely a dork. Okay, let's see. Joel Elliott says, finally broke free of the demon that was running through my veins for the past 7 years. So excellent. Very proud of you. That demon's always going to be there whispering in the back of your head, trust me, but you can continue putting him in his place. So very proud of you. Awesome. Yeah, emo rain, you're not wrong. It's pretty awful, but I am probably stuck here for at least another 4 or 5 years, 5 years. 4.5 years because of my son and custody. We're just talking about custody and the negative side effects of it. There's one. Chris JB says, I watched a total of around 40 miles this week. Holy cow. I was on my phone less this week. Very amazing. I've taken my meds like I'm supposed to, and I went to work, and this week was payday on Friday. Big snaps, 40 miles. That sounds crazy to me. That sounds like so much, but that is awesome. Walking can really help. Being on our phone absolutely helps. Being on our phone less absolutely helps. So big snaps for that. Taking the meds, amazing. It sounds like you're doing a lot of work on yourself, like you're really trying to make those deposits into your happiness bank. Excellent. I'm really proud of you for that effort. David says we're at 162. Mick says, don't get to count cactus as a tree, by the way. But I'm a hardcore tree hugger if I'm hugging cacti. Cyrus McIntosh says, I started cooking again. I accepted an invitation to a barbecue at my friend's house this weekend. Doesn't sound like much, but I barely left my bed since Christmas. Baby steps. It's huge. I struggle with cooking. I struggle with finding the energy to cook. So big snaps to you for finding the energy to cook, for doing that, for taking that step, and for going to your friends. I know social exhaustion is a thing. I just posted a short about it the other day. I totally understand, especially when we're in that dark place, when we're stuck in the house, stuck in bed, don't want to socialize, don't want to do things, don't want to leave the house. It is huge when we accept a social event. So do not minimize those efforts. Those are huge. Big snaps to you. I'm in Arizona, emo rain. I smell food. I'm hungry, so that's awesome. Warrior Poet says, I've been struggling with my inner self for a few weeks now. It's like looking into a mirror at my former self from 10 years ago, and I don't like what I see. I'm still trying. I just don't feel like I'm making much progress. This doesn't sound very victorious, so what I'm going to do today is try something different. Excellent. Love it. Sometimes we don't know what to do. Sometimes things don't work out. What can we do but try something new, try something different? So big snaps to you for being willing to say, you know what, I don't know, but I'm going to keep trying. That takes a lot. So big snaps to you. And big snaps to you for being able to look at yourself and you say, you know what, I don't like this. I don't like where this is going. I know where this road goes, and I don't like what's at the end of this road. So being able to recognize that and start taking action is huge. I'm proud of you. Donald Stefanovich says, today is 137 days since I had alcohol. Love it. I found this channel out of a depressive state I was in. I went down the wormhole and learned Amanda and the community that is the channel have those same mental wellness or unwellness issues that I thought were exclusive to me. I was not alone. I since stopped drinking alcohol. I'm amazed at the transformation and benefits this is out of my mental state. I tune in when I can, help when I can, and always try to say meaningful things. Thank you all. You are not alone. You are absolutely right. We're not alone. We're here together in this crazy thing called life with all of our cocktails of mental wellness or unwellness, however you want to look at it, our mental states. We are all in this together. I'm very proud of you for being 137 days off of alcohol, and I'm glad that we could be here for you, that you found us at just the right time. It sounds like going down my rabbit hole. I love it. But yeah, there are so many people. They're not exclusive. We think we're special. We're not special. These things aren't exclusive to us. I think that's the point. The more we talk about, the more it normalizes it, and the more we can bring in people that are feeling exactly the way you are, and then you can share that with them, and you can be part of the community that's sharing to the new Donalds that come in. So yep, big snaps to you. And yeah, just drinking alcohol has such a negative impact on your mental health over time. It can seem like it's that escape, that numbing for a bit, but it does definitely, it's a net negative. I'm not going to say that these things don't help, but they're a net negative in the overall. Woods Gump says, last week I weightlifted 4 days total and I've been focusing on my physical body. Gonna continue to stay fit and healthy. Using exercise as a tool is awesome. It's a very important part of having that robust toolbox for our mental well-being and for making deposits in our mental well-being. Oh, Felony, what's up? I was worried about you. I haven't seen you in a while. I'm glad you are back. Oh my gosh, Chris, thank you. I think that puts us to almost our goal. Almost. I think we're just a little under. Chris, I hope this helps you get closer to your goal this week, and I hope you can help somebody this week with the community's contributions. We will absolutely be able to help. So thank you very, very much. Les says drinking sucks. I would know. Yeah, I would know too. Charles Berger says, my wife and I went to our autistic son's Special Olympics event. It was the first one I ever attended. We had so much fun. I actually always low-key wanted to go to Special Olympics, so I'm glad that you were able to do that and support him and have fun with it. Hopefully one day I will get to go to one. I just wouldn't even know how to approach going to one if you don't have a kid in one, or if that's socially acceptable, but I really would like to support the cause and see just the joy on these people's face. They're so proud and they're so happy, and I love seeing that. But big snaps to you. Emo Rain says, I'm not celebrating Father's Day this year. Amanda, my dad passed away 5 years ago. I wasn't keen on celebrating Mother's Day this year. I'm glad that I did get to share it with Aaron and Bryston and get to honor my mom in my own way and stuff. But I can totally respect that decision of not wanting to celebrate it. And if you do, you can do it in your terms. You don't have to do it in ways that other people think you do. So I feel like this is blank. Just FYI, I'm not throwing one away. There's just a blank one in there. I think that's very amazing when you're self-aware and realize, you know what, celebrating this just isn't going to be good for my mental health right now. Thank you. Thank you, Mick. Mick is like our hero here in the community. So this puts us at 250. Thank you. Goal. Yes. Goal. William says, hi, Amanda. I'm looking after my bedridden brother. It's something of a strain, but I love him and protect him, but I'm drinking all the time and in trouble. Best wishes, Jamie. I can understand how stressful being a caregiver is. I was a caregiver to my father in many ways, and that was part of the reason I dropped out of high school. It was largely I was sexually assaulted by a classmate, but I also wanted to be there for my dad, who was terminal. I was a caregiver as my job for a while, and I couldn't handle it. It was a lot over time, so I understand that can put a lot of strain on you. But I think I'm assuming that the drinking is in conjunction with this. And I think that if you're drained, if you're depleted from this, doing something that's further depleting you is going to put you in a negative, in the red after a while, energy and mental wise. So as I was saying earlier, I would really encourage you, I don't know if you would just come into the chat. So I would really encourage you to look at what it is you're trying to accomplish with the drinking. Is it because you're sad about your brother? Is it because you're overwhelmed? And then find other ways to address that. I'd love to hear more about what is triggering the drinking specifically, and maybe I can give a little bit more specific advice on that. Big snaps, Chris, for the 15 years sober. Jeeksness says, it's been 8 years since my former friend has cut ties with me. There has been some difficult days during that time, but I've had Kim with me, as well as my lovely distractions, sports, and video games. Learned some people are no longer worth my time. It can be so hard to let go of people. I know, I get it. I've had to cut ties with some people that were so very close to me, close friends, told them things I didn't tell anyone else, and they betrayed me, and I had to let them go, or they just weren't being supportive for me. I had to let them go. So big snaps to you for realizing that and valuing your own time, because it matters. It really does. Oh, that's it. We got through them all. I thought we had to come more, but we got through them all. So big snaps to everyone here in the community for your wins. And as I say on the post, everybody has a win. There's always a win. Even like Tony said, I got up this morning, or Warrior Poet was saying, I am trying something different. There's always a win, and we can always create at least a small win. Tony says, any thoughts, good vibes, or anything tomorrow for my brother's family will be appreciated, of course. Being a caregiver can be very lonely, David. I agree. It was very rewarding in many ways, but I also feel like there's just not enough support for caregivers. So I think William or Jamie, I'm not sure. The screen name is William, but you signed it Jamie, so I'm going to say Jamie. Jamie, you were talking about this struggle from looking over your brother, and I think maybe finding a support group or finding even groups here online for caregivers of family members can be very helpful, just to kind of get some different insights, to realize that you're not alone, to have people that you can talk to that really understand your unique situation when things get really tough. Hello, Vasco. Is this your first live? I don't know what I'm having. Erin, what's for dinner tonight? Emo Rain's asking. It smells good, though. John says, I haven't stopped drinking since the first time I was in Iraq. Totally understandable. I would really struggle to get my footing after that as well. There are a lot of support groups for veterans who struggle with substances specifically. Nick, do you know which one specifically address that? Because I there's so many of them, I can't think off the top of my head which one specifically helps with substance use. But if any of you do know, can you drop that here in the chat? Because we do have quite a few veterans here in the chat. And while I can completely understand why you are turning to the substance to deal with the trauma, the PTSD, I do think that it's important to know that alcohol, like drugs, is a false friend, and it doesn't help you heal, and it doesn't help you move through those things. Not that you're ever going to get over it, because we don't get over trauma. That's such a silly thing to think, but we do process it, and we can get to a point, regardless of how dark it is. There are a lot of veterans that have moved through. Rick James is here in the community. I don't think he's here today, but Rick James came in. He was having night terrors all the time. He was struggling. I believe that he talked to here in the chat about his substance abuse because of his experiences as a soldier. And he, as of last time I heard, had been doing really, really well for the past year or so in his night terrors and in those vices and stuff, in overcoming that and finding recovery. So it is very much possible. Eric says there are millions of others than BA. Yeah, Stop Soldier Suicide offers multiple treatment resources. Thank you, Stop Soldier Suicide. Thank you very much for that. Mick says, I did drugs and got saved by a group of bikers when I got out. Bikers are amazing. I know a lot of bikers that are just so awesome. Well, I need to find out what I'm having for dinner because I'm starving. I still have a couple things that I need to do. Fortunately, somehow I managed to finish all of my homework for this week. So classes didn't even start until Thursday. And there was 3 exams, 2 papers, and 2 discussions that I had to do since Thursday today. I finished them before this. Very proud of myself for that. So snaps to me for that. But I do still have a few other things that I need to do tonight. But I'm very grateful for everyone that came in tonight and for all of our new people. Welcome to the community. I hope that you find what you need here, be it healing, be it just someone to talk to, be it someone to give you some insights and help you move through it. I hope that you are getting that. So I love you guys so much, and I will see you soon. Mwah.